It's a pleasure to be here, and I like to thank again the administration of Commissioner Seminar for giving me the chance and the opportunity to present to you some of our work which we've been doing for some time now. And those of you who attended the lecture, the discourse lecture on the 23rd of July should have had an idea that we were talking about mainly chirality or chirality, which is part of stereotypes. Mainly its analysis. And now, when we presented that lecture or that talk, we focused mainly on drugs or pharmaceuticals. So this lecture will focus on the environmental part of it, which I think is very, very important. And the reason, before I go on, the reason I say it's very important because it was neglected for many, many years and still is, as we speak. Because of the fact that the pharmaceutical industry or manufacturer are giants and big boys, so the work has been done mainly in that field. Okay? And the number of publications and patent is enormous. Yet, because the environmental science in general has no body to support except a few non-profit organizations, and also with the field focused on pesticides and insecticides mainly, you find it for some reason or another neglected. So, I hope after you see what I'm going to present in this lecture, will make some of you, at least one or two, especially the young generation, are interested in doing research in the field of chiral environmental analysis. All right, so this, I like just to, again, very briefly, I'm going to go through that very quickly, because it's always nice. I know that most of the experts know what this is all about, but maybe some of the audience are not aware of it. So I would like just to flash on the two hands, which represent the concept of the chirality. The chirality is a concept based on mirror images of the two hands, and that's the word kairos comes from, which means hand. It's a Greek word. So I just showed you that this is the two mirror images which represent the chirality, and as you can see that these two hands cannot be superimposed, which is true. And if you simply try to do like this, it will never superimpose. However, this is mirror image, so this is superimposed. The mirror image is a different, is superimposed, but if you try to take that out and coincide it, it doesn't. All right, with this in mind, again, this is the molecule of amino acid. This is molecule of amino acid, and amino acids are known to be chiral. All amino acids, with the exception of glycine, are chiral in nature. So again, that shows you here. That shows you here the left and right-handed, the left and right-handed amino acid, and that is the core of the problem. That these molecules are physically and chemically the same. This is right. They are physically, chemically the same. However, once they exist in a chiral environment, the story is completely different. They are not the same. They are not the same. And that is the core of the problem. And of course, living being, all the way from bacteria or even one cell animal or one cell object till the human being, the most complex, we are all containing thousands and thousands and millions of chiral proteins, such as proteins, carbohydrates, lipids. All these essential components are made of chiral protein. So when these compounds, when you take a drug which has a chiral center and it exists in a chiral environment, they act completely different. Okay, now this takes us to that quick, beautiful, which you see every day in mosques and churches and I showed you this because I want to tell you it's not only all science, actually, the artistic flavor involved the concept of symmetry and asymmetry. What you see here is all this design, Persian design, I put that out of a Persian book, showed you the symmetry in the design. All right? And of course, in that case, when you look at these, for example, here, they are carbon with each other, but yet they are not superimposable. See, this is the idea. All right, now for the organic chemistry again. Go back to the organic chemistry, the scientific problem again. Actually, these are, by the way, this is the geometrical isomer, which I'm not going to talk about much because these are two different compounds, easy to separate, very easy to separate, even by fractional crystallization. However, this type A, which is called the central chirality, is the most difficult to separate. And again, the reason is that they are similar in every respect, physically and chemically, with the exception of the property of the polarized light, the direction of the polarized light. So one of them directs the polarized light to the left, and you call it levorotatory, and the other to the right, and you call it dextrorotatory. That's it. You separate, you cannot separate. So the mixture of both make a racemic mixture. The mixture of both make a racemic mixture. And the racemic mixture is very dangerous biologically in most cases. In most cases. All right. These two actually is very briefly, I don't want to go into detail, but basically this is called the axial chirality because of this carbon in the center, right? And this is called the atomizing when you have two aromatic connected by a single bond and you have four different groups on the ortho position. They have to be on the ortho position big enough to slow down the free rotation around the single bond. Okay, so now we are our main focus on that type of separation. All right, now again we go to the side picture, and this is just a sample of a flow chart showing you that a number of pesticides, about 550, that's commonly used, and you find that out of them 13 are natural, isolated from natural sources, usually like the pyrethroid and pyrethylene and all that. You find 13 chiral and 13 are sold and even as single isolate. Yet on the other side, you have the synthetic, and from the synthetic, you have some chiral conditions, some chiral. So we're going to forget that because there is no, I mean, it's a single compound. But this, when you have 90 chiral agents and look at the number of racemic, 93 out of 90, that's better than 90% up, where you use a racemic pesticide in trade or in agrochemicals. All right. Now, This indicates, again, that the natural product cannot beat. You cannot beat Mother Nature. All right? And the synthetic need to be handled and be isolated to see the active, to take the active versus the inactive one. All right. Now, why chiral pollutant analysis is because you have the chiral pollutant, the biological. See, I told you at the beginning, when these two racemids exist in a chiral environment, they are different. They are two different compounds. So the biological transformation are stereoselective in the uptake, metabolism, and excretion, because all these processes are involved in enzymatic conversion. And enzymes are made of what? Proteins or peptides. And what the protein and peptide are made of what? Amino acid. And then you go back to the same old story. That's why they are stereoselective. Also, they differ in biological activity and toxicity. When they exist in a chiral environment, these two are different biologically, and the toxicological effects are both different. And finally, the biodegradation are stereo-specific. Why? Because the biodegradation usually involves bacteria, some fungus, or something like that. And these, again, contain enzymes which carry on the biodegradation process. Now, with this, we can go on and see an example of what we will see. You take a compound like atrazine, very famous pesticide, and you look at the structure. The structure here actually has no chiral. This is a compound which has no asymmetric center in it. Then you tell me, what is the problem? I tell you what is the problem. The problem is when this atrazine is used, the biodegradation of this results in the hydroxymethylation of an isopropyl group here. One of the isopropyl group, this is hydroxymethylated. So it gives, instead of methyl here, CH2OH. Now, here is the chiral center. Now you got a compound with a chiral center and two enamel. So the biodegradation is a chiral product. All right, and one usually is having a toxic effect, a more toxic effect than the other. All right, on the other hand, here you have gamma hexachlorocyclohexane, another one of the insecticides commonly used, or was commonly used. Anyhow, this is when this undergoes biodegradation, it loses hydrochloric acid molecule, HCl is lost, and it converts to the unsaturated cyclohexene ring, and this is what happened. And again, you start having two enantiomer from a compound of that nature which is supposed to be non-chiral. All right, that's an example. Another, here, the MGA is a phosphorus-containing pesticide, and here you start with a chiral compound. Unlike the other example I showed you earlier. Here is because this is an amino acid. So here is the chiral cell, right here. And it is metabolized where oxidative deamination occurs. Oxidative deamination occurs, the NH2 group converts to the prostosyl keto, you lose chirality. So from a chiral pesticide molecule to a non-chiral metabolite. Then Then, reduction of the CO happened. So the CO is converted to its corresponding CHOH right here. Now we came back to the chiral. So this chiral, this is chiral, this is not chiral, and so on. So during that, what I want to show you again, I'm not going to hold you with details of that during the metabolic process, you might encounter chiral metabolites on the way. So, not only biodegradation, and this is an example of metabolism. Alright, when again, this complicated figure simply tells you one fact. We are not living alone. There is no way we are living alone. We are into this together. That means what you do wrong, I will get it one way or another. And what I do wrong, you will get it one way or another. And that is a problem we live nowadays when everybody is screaming, green chemistry, green soap. And while you do the meeting or conference, some countries sign to reduce the pollution and some countries still testing this problem. Like the States, one of them, unfortunately. And look what happened even as we speak, as we deliver this seminar. And the Olympic is about 10 or less days away in China. And Peking suffering from a problem in pollution. And you can see the pollution existing in the city, hanging over the city. You look at the stadium, what they call the Westbury Stadium or whatever, it is awful because of the pollution and surrounding. All right. So this simply says that all the way from the time it rains and the water goes to the ground or to the sea, till the food we eat, we are all interconnected. Nobody lives alone in a glass and shielded and say, no, I'm away with this. No. You'll be surprised what the number of society daily will take daily from the food we eat. All right. Anyhow, here again, I'm trying to give you before we go on why we have to go through that. Why we have to go through that. This is an example of the effect of concentration of dextro versus levo enantiomer of alpha hexachlorocycloxane on the mortality of some rat hepatocyte. We isolated liver cells from the rat and we test the effect of the individual enantiomer on these cells. I think the pictures speak for itself. DMSO is the plant. This is the solvent which we use to make a solution for this enantiomer. So this is the plant. Dimethyl sulfoxide. Okay. And here is the concentration. And of course, -4, 3 to the -4, 1 to the -4, 3 to the -5. All right, and look at the difference between the levo and the dextro. Okay? Look at the levo and the dextro. This represents the mortality, the effect that this compound kills the cell, kills the liver cell. And here is an example of stimulation of these compounds for the cell to reproduce, the mitosis. Look at that in biology, mitosis, the cell reproduction. Okay? So, again, there is a difference. There is a difference. Which is more seriously toxic, I think we can say the dextro is the one which is more toxic as far as to the cell, as well as to the mitosis, the stimulation of mitosis. Again, we find the dextro is most active. Now, this give you another example of the story we are discussing. And I'm sure this is not a problem only in Malaysia, but anywhere, since we are using petroleum product for fuel. So one of the problems is the polyaromatic cyclic hydrocarbon. Polyaromatic cyclic hydrocarbon. And this is benzene. When you look at the benzene itself as it is, it's a flat non-chiral compound. It's a flat non-chiral compound. Very innocent compound. Yet, when you smell that much, or you put that on the skin too much, then skin cancer or lung cancer start to develop. All right. So what's the story here? The story here that this compound here as non-chiral, once it starts getting into the system, the biological system, an epoxide is formed through an oxidase enzyme system, which we all have, and we form an epoxide ring system. Chemically known, the three members of the oxide ring system is very unstable ring. It doesn't stay that long. So once it sends any nucleophilic reagent or nucleophilic group, it opens up. In this case, the oxidase hydrogenase start, or the oxide hydrogenase start opening up to the dihydroxy derivative. Now you see how many chiral centers start shaking. We have two already, and the period starts repeating itself. On that side, we talk about 7, 8, and this is what we got from the 7, 8 diode. Now from 9 and 10, and it repeats itself, you end up with a bunch of enantiomer. At least 4 centers being created from completely non-chiral compound. 4 centers that represent 16 enantiomer, according to the Van Hoff rule. That's very much plenty. Okay. Why the cancer occurred? Why the cancer happened? Cancer happened because this epoxide again, it can attack amino acids, the NH2 in the amino acid group, and it open up and start forming the cancer cell. Or it attack the DNA, which has NH2 in some of its structure, and again start dislocating the helicity and the double helix of the DNA, and it causes a mess. So this is another example, shows you the potentiality of these compounds, and again, that is a quick overview for the effect of tumor-producing activity for the ABOUL, the dextro, and the arsenic. Here you find in a different dose level, we use 2 dose levels, 100 and 400. All right, the percentage, that tells you the percentage. Let's look at this. The percentage of the mycosis tumor. Here you have about 11, and you the dose you give 36. Now, here in the dextro, 138 and 55. So eventually, up to that point, I can tell you the double. dextrosatellite is more serious than the lead. Period. Now, is that the end of the story? No. Because you already have a mixture of both. In this case, you can see the number even increased. What happened? Potentiation. Potentiation. One helped the other to increase or to potentiate or to synergize the effect of the other. So the existence of the two together is even worse. Okay? Now, I will move on here and this is another example for another polyaromatic hydrocarbon, and again you see that oxide and the opening. It is in another example. And now let us discuss where you come in. Where you as a research center come in. You come in by looking at what is available in as pesticide or insecticide. And these are classified to aliphatic, organic, or pesticides are three classes. Mainly. There are mainly the three big classes. Aliphatic, organic chlorine pesticide. That means most of the structure contain more than one chlorine in their structure. And they are aliphatic or alicyclic in nature. Okay, that is one class. The other one is the aromatic organic chlorine pesticide. And in this case, you have the chlorine, but you have an aromatic group along with it. Now, and finally, the phosphorus pesticide, which is very common, and some of you here are working on this as we speak. Okay. This is just an example of the structure, showing the structure for this aliphatic. In the aliphatic pesticide, which carry chiral center, I hate to tell you that the best and the only way of analysis happen to be using GC. GC is the method of choice. GC is the method of choice for the aliphatic organic chlorine pesticide. All right. Now, let us move on for the aromatic. This is the aromatic. And you see that this contains aromatic group and poly chlorine in nature. Now, the method of the choice for these are HPLC. Because of the aromatic nature, you can go for HPLC nice and easy. All right. And finally, we get to the phosphorus. These are all phosphorus containing compound. And here, bear in mind, the chirality here is not a carbon. The chirality here is a phosphorus atom. Okay? Chirality here is a phosphorus atom. This. All right. The organophosphorus pesticide, again, HPLC is one of the methods of choice for the analysis of this compound. I don't want to underdog the capillary phoresis potential. No. Capillary phoresis is a great method to use a technique, but it is only for the, of course, now mainly analytical purpose. But the potentiality of the HPLC that you can apply both in the analytical as well as the preparative field. CE restricts itself to the analytical field only. This is one. Number two, HPLC, you can have a wide array of detectors attached to it. In CE, unfortunately, so far, it is getting better. Don't get me wrong. It is getting better, but it's not yet common. The only availability for detector using CE is mainly UV, laser-induced fluorescence, and if you're lucky and have some money, you get yourself a mass spectrometer. Then, if you get a mass spectrometer, then you really talk. Okay? Because this is one of the most sensitive, efficient detector ever. But it has its price. Okay, now, let us move on, and again, it shows you all the DDT, the good old DDT here. Again, how the mirror images and enantiomer are represented in this type of compound, DDT and the polychlorinated biphenyl. By the way, there is a very nice story to the polychlorinated biphenyl, because about 5-6 years ago, I was in Belgium, and once in a sudden I noticed big ban on all the restaurants and supermarkets. Don't buy or eat chicken. Chicken was banned. What seemed to be the problem? The chicken feed happened to have polychlorinated biphenyl, and it went into the chicken, and the level went up high. Some people got sick out of it. So they confiscated all the chicken for about 4 months till we cleared up the situation, and the chicken went back to the market. Alright? So that just shows you that this is really, it's an everyday life. It affects our life very closely. Very closely. Alright. Anyhow, see, this is the story of the biphenyl. And now, again, in this flow chart, I show you the different techniques which you can use for the chiral separation or chiral analysis. And usually, as I said, it's a chromatography, capillary electrophoresis, biosensors, membrane, crystallization, and biotransformation. But we are focusing on chromatography for the sake of analysis now. And in chromatography, of course, you have the GC and LC. Each one has its merit, advantage, disadvantage. From the LC, we have subtypes ranging from HDLC to supercritical fluid to capillary chromatography CC, and finally PLC, which is limited, unfortunately, due to lack of sensitivity. So, I said the best applied of this. I don't want to lean toward one mode over another, but again, every one of it has good point and bad point, and they depend on the technique and utility and what you want it for. So, the supercritical or subcritical fluid is excellent method for critical separation. You can separate kilogram amount of enantiomer using the SFC and sheet. Not only the N sheet, because you use carbon dioxide and methanol as a monophase, and that's it. So carbon dioxide is not really a costly vehicle, and methanol is not very expensive. So it is very manageable when you're talking about amount. This is this. But the capillary one is only for analytical purpose. You cannot go prep or even symmetry, because even from the name capillary, the RNA is small, it's nothing big. Okay? But we are talking about HPLC because this is most commonly used technique in most of the lab. Now, here we are going to discuss analysis of some chiral pollutant using HPLC. And again, I'm going to go very because it is too many on here, but I will get into what is most important. What I want to say here, guys, there are about 6 classes of chiral stationary phase that we can use for the direct separation of chiral element. And these are the one in bold. I'm going to read only the one in bold. Polysaccharide based, and there is a bunch of them. And this is the company who provides. Cyclodextrin based, and there is a bunch of them. And there is the companies they make. Macrocyclic glycopeptide antibiotic. And here it is. Protein-based chiral stationary phase. And again, there are a number of them. And we have also the crown ether, as well as the ligand exchange phase. I think there is one up here. Okay. Yes. Here is the crown ether and this ligand exchange. So you have a wide variety of stationary phases to choose from. About 170 columns commercially available. And you're not going to get 170 columns in the lab. Each column costs, on the average, anywhere between $800 plus $100. So that means a university budget to get just a column. And that is practically impossible. What you do? It happened that we find out that this one here, the polysaccharide, and the macrocyclic, are the most commonly used and applicable columns. If you get about 4 of these, and I can tell you by name the efficient 4 of these, and 3 of these, you secure 90% chance of separation of the hematocytic protein. Okay? If not, the rest, of course, is added. And be tough luck. But this is the story. Okay, now the polysaccharide which I mentioned earlier, which is this, are cellulose and amylose based compound. Okay, so this is the cellulose and this is the amylose. The cellulose, as you can see, rigid linear fiber, glucose molecule. The amylose is helical in nature, again, glucose molecule. The number of glucose units here is higher than the number of glucose units in the amylose. And this is usually give you where to start, how to start. You start simply by, in the normal phase mode, by using a mobile phase hexane isopropanol 80-20. That is the start point. Okay? And you can, according to what you see, you start adjusting your chromatographic condition. So if it's a fast solution, you reduce the alcohol concentration. If it's a late solution, you increase the alcohol concentration. And if it's a poor resolution, you have to reduce the alcohol and possibly make some sort of a new composition to improve on it. All right, you can, again, depending on the structure of the pesticide in hand, if that pesticide is neutral, that's fine. If it is acidic in nature or has acidic group, then you need to add trifluoroacetic acid into the mobile phase in about 0.4% concentration. If it is basic in nature and has a basic group, you add diethylamine or triethylamine as an additive to the mobile phase in a concentration doesn't exceed, or which does not exceed 0.4%. And it goes on like this. Here, what we have done, again, this is the reverse phase mode situation, where you can start again with acid. Water acetonitrile or water methanol 50-50, and you work your way out into the flow. And if the resolution is okay, if it's fast, you adjust, reduce water, late, increase water because of the polarity, increase the polarity that way. And if it doesn't, no resolution happen, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, you have to use buffer. I hate to use buffer myself. I will try to avoid it. Using the buffer usually causes a problem of salting out, and you need to be very careful in washing the system on a constant basis, otherwise you block it and you ruin everything. So you use a buffer, acetonitrile in a 50-50 mixture, and you work your way out. This is the reverse situation. Now, this is the picture of analysis of a program of an enantiomeric resolution of 2 DDT enantiomer on an amylose phase using acetonitrile water 50-50. All right, and here is again another DDD, the dichloro derivative centiamide on an amylose phase using acetonitrile isoborone 50-50. Here, the two actually, it reflect that. Why I showed you this? Here's an example where you get the separation, okay, but this is not a baseline separation. This is not really a keen type of perfect separation, but at least you got 70% dairy, which is okay. Look at this. This is the perfect type of separation. You find the two enantiomer separated quite well. We, of course, tried some other phases, and sometimes you get no resolution. In our, no resolution. So what I'm saying is, that's why you have to have, using the polysaccharide phases, you need at least 4 of these to be in hand. Okay, because sometimes they are complementary to each other. One could resolve, the other could. Now I'll give you a quick example for the use of analysis of chiral using the CE. And I don't have to say here except that in the CE situation, instead of having the chiral selector on a column represented by chiral association phase, here we add the chiral selector to the mobile phase or the background electrolyte, which is usually a buffer. And these are some of the chiral selectors that could be added. However, the best one is the cyclodextrin. The best one is the cyclodextrin. And the reason is its cost, it's cheap. The rest are kind of costly. But the cyclodextrin are kind of cheap. This is one advantage. The other very big advantage, most of these are UV absorbing. And it starts interfering with your analysis, while cyclodextrin are non-UV absorbing. So it is cheap, chiral selector, and non-UV absorbing. So usually it is very commonly used for the chiral separation using CE. Now, again, there is a number of literature started coming up using the CE. And again, I want you to see here the use of the how do you add the chiral selector. Here, beta cyclodextrin. See, driven. Dimethyl beta cyclodextrin. All right. Beta dimethyl alpha cyclodextrin. Dimethyl beta cyclodextrin. alpha cyclodextrin, beta cyclodextrin, and so on. There are a number of cyclodextrin derivatives which exceed at least 25 derivatives. So you have a wide array of choice to apply. Okay? Now, here is example of separation of 6 phenyloxypropionic acid herbicides. Phenyloxypropionic acid herbicide. These are which we have done. What we have done here is this herbicide, phenoxy acid herbicide. We use sodium phosphate at pH 6.5. By the way, the pH is a very important parameter you need to look at when you do your recipe. pH. pH 6.5, and then we used a carbohydrate non-UV absorbing N-octyl beta D maltobiral mosaic. It's a maltose derivative. It's a maltose derivative with an octyl group. Okay, the octyl group here acts like the C8 in the HPLC. The octyl group enhances the van der Waals forces interaction. That's it. Okay, now we increase here in A, the concentration was 10 millimole of that compound. And you can see partial separation in some, but not yet. We increase that to 100 in the C. And now you look, the separation here is getting much better. All right? All right. This is this is 10 millimole, this is 60 millimole, this is 100 millimole. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. So you need to consider the concentration of the chiral selector when you do this study. And you go progressively till you reach a point where you get the best separation. After that, I'm not saying that you don't add a ton in order to it. No, it doesn't work that way, because there's an optimum situation, and then after that start dipping down again. So with this, you reach a point where the best separation of the 6 of them happen to be between the 60 and the 100 millimole. Here, for example, you see better separation than here. Here is better separation than here. Here is better separation than here, and so on. All right? And according, see, the challenge of this procedure is what? The challenge of this procedure that you are trying to separate 6 pesticide arsenic. That means you need to see 12 peaks in one injection. This is kind of a challenge. That's not an easy job. If it is 1 or 2, that's no problem. But once you have a mixture, which is usually the case, by the way, then you really have to work more in order to validate your method of development in a way that you can see them very nice and clear. Okay? And with this, I hope I have left you with some impression how important the chiral analysis, chiral analysis is important. By the way, I'm not making here an advertisement. It's a conclusion that immediate action is to intensify study to increase the level of awareness of toxicity and carcinogenicity of chirality. This is very important. This is very. I want you to leave this room and remember this. Okay? And we actually took our time to make a book called Chiral Pollutant. It is published by Wiley, and in this book we have tried to collect the best we can at the time what has been published and what is the future trends and perspective into that field. Thank you very much for your attention.